Hello. In this video we are going to try to make a Java application that would encrypt and decrypt using the DES algorithm. So to start, we're gonna create a method that would generate a secret key for us. So let's go ahead and do that. Public secret key, generate key. Not going to give you any parameter, and it's going to return key generator dot get instance des dot generate key, and here it throws an exception. I'm gonna make it static, and then I'm going to create an instance variable private secret key. I'm gonna name it key here. We can make it final, and in our constructor public des dot key equals to generate key, and here it throws an exception. And then I'm going to do the same thing, public des with parameter secret key here, this dot key equals to key. Alright, so once we have that set, I'm gonna go to my main. Right here I just prepared two methods, encode and decode, that use base64 to encode a byte array and returns a string, and the decoder does the same thing but in reverse. So in our main, I'm gonna start off by getting my secret key. So secret key equals to, I'm gonna call des.generate key. Here throws exception, just to get rid of that. You can manage your exceptions later on your application. My objective right here is to show you how to create the class encrypt and decrypt your messages. So once we have our key here, I'm gonna try to print it out. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna encode the key.get encoded just to see in our console. Alright, so this is our key for now. This is going to serve as the encryption key. DES is like AES, it's symmetrical, so the same key that is going to be used to encrypt is the same one that is going to be used to decrypt. So let's go and create our encryption and decryption methods, but for that we need a cipher. So I'm gonna create a encryption cipher, enc cipher, and I'm gonna do the same for the decryption cipher. And in our constructor, I'm gonna call a method init ciphers that I'm going to create right now. So private void init ciphers, and here encryption cipher is going to get cipher.get instance. There are different instances for our DES, but I'm going to go for the DES CBC PKCS5, and then encryption cipher dot initialize, we're gonna give it the encrypt mode, and we're gonna pass on the key, and right here throws exception, same thing. I'm gonna do the same thing for the decryption cipher, so I'm just gonna duplicate this for the decryption cipher and duplicate this for the decryption cipher, change the mode to decrypt mode. And right here, since we have the CBC, we need to pass on the IV, and since we have initialized the encryption cipher, we can get the IV straight from that, and we can get a new IV parameter spec and pass on the encryption cipher.get IV. Once that's set up, we can go back to this part, throws exception, So our constructors are ready here. Our cipher initialization is done. Just check it's right here. So everything is good for now. We can create our encrypt and decrypt methods. So public, we're gonna return a byte array, encrypt a string message, and here we're gonna return encryption cipher dot do final, and we're gonna pass here a parameter which would take the message, and we're going to transform it to a byte array. Then same goes here, throws exception. And for the decrypt method, so public string decrypt string, or let's pass here the byte array of the message, throws exception, and return the decryption cipher dot do final, and we're gonna pass here the message that we have. And since it's going to return a string, we can create a new string from that. So new string decryption cipher dot do final. Just to get things here clear, since we have transferred the message to a byte array, to revert it, we can just create a new string from that byte array. This is important later on in the main, because I would be using the encode and decode methods using the base64 class. So back in here we have our key, so we can, I'm just going to add a little specification here. Alright, the decrypt key, and then I'm going to create the message that we're going to encrypt. So message equals to the Encoders. Then let's encrypt that message. So the result is going to be a byte array. Let me check. We have the byte array here of the method encrypt. So let's create DES equals to new DES, and we're going to pass on the key that we have generated here. Then DES.encrypt the message that we have. Here is going to be a byte array encrypted bytes equal to that. Now if we want to print it, we need to encode. This is where we are going to use the encode method. So let's print the message. So encrypted message is plus encode the encrypted bytes. Once we have that ready, we can decrypt the message. So just to revert that, and here decrypted message plus we can either decode the encoded message, and since we did not save it as encoded, we're just gonna use the encrypted DES.decrypt the encrypted bytes and run this. So everything is good here. This is the key that we have used, this is the encrypted message, and this is the decrypted message. Alright, so right here we can use, instead of saving the byte array here, we can just set this as a string, encrypted message, and here we can encode this message, and here we're gonna pass on directly the encrypted message. And if we want to decrypt it, we need to decode it. So we're gonna use the decoder to decode the encrypted message. If I run it again, it works. Alright, So here, back to our class, we have, if you notice the initialization for the ciphers, we had to get the IV. This is because we use the CBC. So instead of using the CBC, we're going to use the ECB for the block mode. So let's just go ahead and change that. We're going to remove this IV and we can run the same code. So everything works here without even having the need to use the IV. That's it for this video. If you have any suggestion, feel free to leave it down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.